What is going on, YouTube? This is Lamont at Large. My name is Lamont. I named the channel after me. Today we are in Mount Healthy, Ohio, pretty much the suburb of Cincinnati. We are at the Arlington Memorial Garden Cemetery. I am very, very popular with mosquitoes right here. It is almost the end of the year. Isn't it funny how time just totally flashes before our very eyes? And it's almost going to be that time where we have to make our New Year's resolutions, right? Now, mine is every year, lose weight, blah, blah, blah. This time, I got 3 at the top of my list, and I'm quite serious. Number 1, all because I'm homeless does not have to mean I have to dress like I'm homeless. Got to start dressing a little bit better. That's one of my New Year's resolutions. Number 2, I gotta do my best. Okay, I gotta practice. I have to be a better liar. When I come to cemeteries, I have to do a better job at lying to the people that work at these facilities on what my intended purposes are. And number 3, I have to get some kind of new vehicle or trailer. I'm attracting way too many looky-loos, too many security personnel at said cemeteries that I visit. But enough about me and my rant. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I feel so much better now because I have nobody else to tell these things to except YouTube. Today, as I am being attacked, bombarded by mosquito bites, I am here to visit the grave of Dr. Frederick Baur. You don't know his name, but you've probably ate the invention that he created up in 1968, somewhere around there. And that invention is called Pringles. Hey, anybody like Pringles? Once you pop, you can't stop, all right? And I literally can't. I can't keep a can of Pringles in my trailer. I just can't, because I literally can't stop myself. Especially the sour cream and onion flavor ones. Anyways, let's not talk about my snacking problems. We're going to talk about how this man came to invent Pringles and, a little bit about who he is. So, Frederick Baur was born July 14th, 1918 here in good old Cincinnati, Ohio. By the way, if anybody has never been to Cincinnati, come on down. It's a really nice town. And growing up, just an ordinary kid, just playing around, throwing rocks, stuff like that. So later on, after graduating high school, he went to the University of Ohio at Toledo. Then he went to the University of Ohio, and he graduated with his master's and doctorate in, I believe, organic food chemistry. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what he graduated with. So when he got out of school, he joined the Navy, and he worked as an aviation physiologist. Now you're probably asking, well, what the heck is that? Well, he studied the effects of, gravity and just basically flying a plane on the bodies of pilots. That's pretty interesting, right? Not really. I'm sure it's a really cool job. So anyways, he gets out of the military. He comes back to town. He gets a job as a organic food chemist at Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, I'm sure they make lots of great products, right? Lots of great products. So, not to get into who invented the potato chip, because that'll be a separate video later on down the road, but the potato chip industry back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, it was almost a $1 billion industry, right? But there was a problem. You see, we have a problem with these potato chips, right? Back in the days, when you would make potato chips, they had a shelf life, right? So surprisingly, oftentimes, the problem with having potato chips that people would find is a lot of times when they would get them, it's like if you don't eat them quickly, they're going to go stale really quickly. And oftentimes when you open up a bag, it's like the chips are all breaking in little pieces. And I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, I want that, but who wants that? I guess is what I'm saying. Little tiny potato chips everywhere. and they would be a mess. And wherever the potato chip was made and where it was delivered to had to be less than 200 miles just to keep sure that the potato chip was going to be as fresh as possibly it could be. So I guess you can call them food scientists, food engineers. They were coming up with a better way of making potato chips, preferably cheaper, but better. So in the 60s, Procter & Gamble, and along with other companies like General Mills and whoever makes planters, the peanuts things or whatever, they were trying to come up with a cheaper and a better way to not only make potato chips, make them taste better, but the shipping them, because that was a problem, because you got to be very delicate with these chips. Those, you drop a box of them, they break, they get into pieces. People don't like that. So Procter & Gamble, who hired Dr. Frederick Baur, he is a doctor, by the way, they went to him and they said, okay, we need you to develop a product like a potato chip that could be protected and it won't break. And we need something to separate ourselves from like a regular old like Lay's potato chips and Utz or Utes or whatever that product's called. So over the next ensuing years, Dr. Frederick Baur, he made up this thing, this like kind of like this cylinder container, right? And he figured that if this thing, and you can design the shape of potato chips to fit to stack in this container, not only could it be a genius marketing tool, the company would make a lot of money. Maybe he might get a bonus. Maybe he'll take the wife and kids on a cruise or take them around the world. Who knows? So, excuse me, still a little bit under the weather, pushing through. So that is when he made Pringles, right? Now, Pringles was not made from, sliced potatoes like regular potato chips were. No, they were made, by the way, does that thing sting? Get away from me, man. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to get hurt. So, unlike potato chips that were made out of, potatoes, Pringles were made out of they would take potatoes, right? They're still potatoes, but they would slice them like really super thin into like this kind of like flake, and then they would dry it out. It's kind of like the same similar method of how instant mashed potatoes was created, right? You're taking dehydrated potato flakes and that's what you're making the chip out of, right? So they're potato chips, but they're just processed differently. So Pringles comes out in about, I want to say 1968, right? And immediately it's a hit. It's a marketing, it's a phenomenon, almost, if you know what you want to call it, right? So you got this potato chip, and it's a really cool inventive idea, because it comes in this like really cool cylinder shaped container. You could open the lid, but you could shut it. You couldn't do this with regular potato chips. You just got to roll them up, roll the bag, put that little stupid clip on it and hope for the best. Hopefully no bugs get into your potato chip bag, huh? Some of us didn't live in the cleanliest of apartment buildings, okay? Anyways. Memories. So immediately it was a hit. And they were selling a lot of Pringles, kids. I mean, they were going through them left and right. However, there was one problem. They were terrible. They tasted like, can I say the word on this channel? They tasted like crap. They were horrible. Yeah, it looks cool. The idea is cool, but this is an awful potato. This is not even a potato chip. It's like a potato flake chip. It's weird. This thing tastes bad. Now, as people were like buying them up and then realizing they were horrible, Pringles had to go back to the drawing board. They had to develop a better way of, making them taste better. And eventually they did do that. But in the process of them marketing themselves as a potato chip, believe it or not, these guys, along with General Mills, because General Mills, they had their own version of Pringles. It was called Chippos, which failed miserably. Why? Have you ever heard of Chippos? Gee, there you go. So General Mills and Procter and Gamble were actually sued, I think in the early 70s, by this stupid international potato chip company. It was just basically Lay's and all the other potato chip companies suing these guys, saying that, like, oh, they're claiming that their product is potato chips, but they're not real potato chips because they're not from fresh potatoes. They're made from dehydrated potato flake. And believe it or not, this was a big deal back in those days. So eventually, they settled out of court, right? So here's what they had to do. Pringles, they couldn't call their product potato chips anymore. They had to call them potato crisp or something like that. And they had to put on the labeling, right under where it says potato whatever, they had to put potato chip made from dried potatoes. Whatever, right? Pushing along. So they did that for a while. And eventually they fixed the taste of the chip. Because like I said before, when it first came out, it was terrible. But they really honed in on the taste of the chip, and it worked out. They started adding different flavors. And it's been a $1 billion thing. As a matter of fact, in 2012, Kellogg's bought the Pringles brand and the name from Procter & Gamble for $2.7 billion. And as of today, I believe Pringles accounts for about 2.2% of all chip sales, snack sales, or maybe just chip sales. And Dr. Frederick Baur was very, very proud of his invention. I mean, no, he would brag all the time. He would often go to stores. I mean, I can imagine, this may not be true, but I can imagine that he would just sit there and just like look at somebody buying Pringles. And he's like, you're only buying that because of me. If it wasn't for me, you never would have even known what that is, kids. Come on. You would have been eating Chippos, for God's sake. And as an ode to their dearly departed father, when Dr. Frederick Baur passed on May 4th of 2008, I believe it was his wish. I don't think this was like any kind of a goof they were trying to do. It was his wish, I'm guessing, that he wanted to be buried in a Pringles can. So what his family did was they buried him here at this cemetery. They put, like maybe 1/3 of his ashes in a Pringles can. And then the Pringles can was put in a little concrete vault. And then there's an urn with the other part of his ashes. And then I believe the other part of his ashes, one of his kids got, or something like that. Just in time, kids. Just in time. The bell ringing. We're coming. We're coming. And here we are. Just in time. This is the final resting place of Dr. Frederick Baur, interred along with his wife, Elaine, the inventor of Pringles potato chip. And he did get a patent for the container in which you put the potato chips made from dehydrated potato flake. $1 billion idea, literally $2.7 billion because of this man right here. A little bit of history, a little bit of fun fact that you guys may not have known if it wasn't for me doing my due diligence in researching these interesting and odd stories. Thankfully, I saved this video. It started as a rant, but it ended up as some kind of a historic story that I was able to bring to you. Not the best storyteller, but I do the best that I can. So rest in peace to Dr. Frederick and Elaine Baur. I was glad I can come here and visit his grave. A very remarkable story, if I do say so myself. By the way, there is lawsuits going on over this potato chip nonsense, even in England. These guys would not let up on this potato chip nonsense. Oh, by the way, Once you pop, you can't stop. Yeah, that's no longer the phrase, catchphrase. Guess what it is now? 2022. Pringles, mind popping. Why do people always mess up a good thing? Why? Why change something? Leave it alone. Leave it alone. See that guy in the pink shirt? He's probably wondering why I'm yelling, and he's probably gonna come over here and ask me why I'm screaming like a madman at a cemetery. Well, I don't know. I don't like when people change things. It will always be, once you pop, you can't stop. Anyways, guys, I gotta get out of here before they call the police on me, because I've been yelling for the last 15 minutes or so. But dang nabbit, I just love Pringles. By the way, word to the wise, the fat-free version, do not eat those. Listen, I'm not gonna tell you why. This is a family channel. Just trust me when I say, do not eat the fat-free Pringles. You've been warned. Catch up with y'all later. Peace out.